Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into a vehicle that literally dominates global roads, the Toyota Corolla. Now, specifically, we're looking ahead to the 2026 model. If you've spent any time at all on car blogs or social media recently, you've probably seen a ton of wild, aggressive concept images and some really bold claims about a massive redesign. But, as always, we're here to cut through all that internet hype. Today, we're breaking down the actual source data to give you a definitive, highly practical buyer's guide. We're going to separate the digital fantasy from the asphalt reality so you know exactly what to expect. So here's the burning question everyone is asking right now. Is the 2026 Corolla actually a sports car in disguise? I mean, if you look at the highly stylized concept art floating around, you'd think this incredibly reliable daily driver has suddenly morphed into some ferocious track beast. The renderings show a car that looks way more ready for a racing circuit than, a morning school run. But is that really what Toyota's doing with its most mainstream sedan? It's so easy to get swept up in these digitally enhanced images, but to find the real answer, we've got to look at the historical data and who this car is actually built for.
Okay. Let's dive into Section 1, the reality check. Let's just step back from the glowing screens for a second and look at this comparison. On one side, we've got the internet hype. These viral images show crazy aggressive headlights, a sporty lowered stance, and even quad exhausts in the back. It looks incredibly fast, right? But then, look at the production reality on the other side. Based on official specs and historical trends, the actual 2026 Corolla is going to be much simpler and significantly less aggressive. Those viral images, they're basically just digital clickbait designed to grab your attention. The real, production-ready version is going to tone all of that way down. And why? Because the Corolla isn't trying to be a race car. It's built for a completely different purpose.
Moving right along to Section 2, Merits, the sensible superpowers.
So, forget the quad exhaust for a minute. Let's talk about this car's true strengths. I actually like to call these its sensible superpowers. They might seem a bit boring at first glance, but trust me, they are absolutely heroic when you're living with the car day in and day out. Right at the very top of that list, proven reliability. This is unequivocally the Corolla's biggest flex globally. We're talking about incredibly long engine life, low maintenance needs, and way fewer breakdowns than its competitors. What does that mean for you? Total peace of mind. When you push that start button every single morning, you know for a fact this car is gonna start. That is a superpower you just can't overvalue.
And beyond just starting up every day, it's also incredibly good at not draining your bank account while you drive. The source data points to excellent fuel economy, featuring really efficient petrol engines and a highly economical hybrid option. In a world where gas prices are basically a roller coaster, having a daily driver that sips fuel instead of gulping it is a massive advantage. It makes the Corolla the perfect shield against those unpredictable costs at the pump. But the savings actually continue long after you leave the gas station. The 2026 Corolla is going to carry on the legacy of super low maintenance costs. The parts are exceptionally cheap, and even better, they're widely available literally anywhere in the world. Our source specifically points out how notoriously easy this car is to repair, especially in places like Pakistan and across Asia where it's hugely popular. You absolutely do not need some specialized luxury mechanic to keep this thing running. Pretty much any local shop can handle it quickly and affordably.
Which brings us nicely to our final merit, and it's a big one, the #1 ranking for resale value. The Corolla holds its value better than almost any other sedan out there. Seriously, it isn't just a car. It's genuinely a solid financial investment. Because of everything we just talked about, the bulletproof reliability, the fuel economy, the cheap parts, there is always a massive secondary market for these things. If you ever need to sell it, you can do it quickly, easily, and without taking a massive hit on depreciation.
Now, let's flip the script and check out Section 3. Demerits, the boring truth.
We've hyped up the superpowers, but we definitely need some brutal honesty here too. Every car is a compromise, right? To really understand the Corolla, you have to know exactly what you're giving up. I want to anchor this on a direct quote from our source material. Corolla is practical, not prestigious. It hits the nail on the head.
If your goal is to turn heads in the valet line, flex on your neighbors, or wrap yourself in top-tier luxury, you are absolutely looking at the wrong car. The Corolla doesn't care one bit about prestige. It only cares about utility. And that disconnect is perfectly captured when we compare how people think it looks versus how it actually drives. Even if the 2026 exterior ends up looking a little sporty, you've got to remember what's under the hood. It's a normal, highly practical powertrain. There is zero sports car feel here. The steering, the suspension, the acceleration, it's all just incredibly safe and predictable, which frankly means it's unexciting. It's a conservative driving experience engineered to get you safely from point A to point B, not to give you an adrenaline rush on a winding mountain road. That highly conservative approach extends right into the cabin too. The interior can feel pretty basic, especially if you're comparing it to any sort of luxury car. Now don't get me wrong, it offers really good durable build quality. It's a super practical space for families and daily commuters, and nothing is going to rattle or fall apart in your hands. But it entirely lacks that premium wow factor. You're not going to find opulent materials or cutting-edge aesthetic flair like you would in a higher-end European vehicle. Above all else, it's just functional.
So what does this all mean for you? Let's get into Section 4, the final buyer verdict.
Let's synthesize all this and cleanly divide the audience based on what you actually need from a car. You should absolutely buy the 2026 Corolla if you need rock-solid reliability, top-tier fuel efficiency, and a low cost of ownership. It is literally the ideal choice for budget-conscious families, students, or anyone who just needs a totally dependable daily commuter. On the flip side, you should definitely not buy this car if you want speed, a luxury feel, or status. If you find yourself dreaming of a BMW 3 Series or Mercedes C-Class, the Corolla is just going to leave you disappointed. It's really all about matching your expectations to what the car actually is.
So, if you do fall into that first category of practical buyers, here is our smart buyer advice. Just 3 simple steps. First, as we established earlier, do not be fooled by those online concept images. They're just clickbait. Second, always base your decision on the official specs directly from Toyota. And third, this is a big one, our source strongly recommends going for the hybrid variant if it's available to you. The hybrid represents the absolute best value because it maximizes that incredible fuel economy we talked about.
To summarize this whole thing visually, check out these final truth ratings. This perfectly captures the entire story of the 2026 Corolla in a single frame. Look at that massive gap. On one end, you have flawless 5-star ratings for reliability and value. I mean, it literally doesn't get better than that. But then look at the other side. A very realistic 3 stars for design and a pretty lackluster 2 stars for performance. It is the absolute definition of practicality over performance. You're basically trading excitement for an ironclad guarantee that this car will serve you reliably for years to come. Which leaves us with this final, absolutely vital question to ask yourself. When you buy a vehicle, are you paying for performance and prestige, or are you paying for peace of mind? The 2026 Toyota Corolla knows exactly what it is. It's not trying to win any races, and it definitely won't be the star of a car show. But as an everyday tool, it remains one of the smartest, most sensible purchases you can possibly make. Think about what you truly value on your daily commute, and the right choice will be crystal clear. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Remember to always seek the facts over the hype, and I'll catch you next time.